this was a really odd fight. It was really weird because I've gone through and I've looked at the stats as well, because I'm always interested to see what the actual statistics, the dude with the buttons sitting there going click click, that's a takedown, that's a strike, that's significant, that's not significant. I don't know how much we can buy into this stuff. And I've watched this fight. I watched it and I've watched it double speed. And the reason I watch it double speed is because it gives me a bit better of a perspective of who's controlling the octagon, because it's not necessarily the person pushing forward. This is something we have to remember about octagon control. Is octagon control doesn't mean that you've got your opponent pushed up against the fence. There were a lot of fights where Lyoto Machida had octagon control as he was moving laterally on the back foot. A good counter striker will pull you into range to hit you with shots. Anderson Silva against Forrest Griffin, same thing. Drew him through the center of the octagon. Bam, bam, dropped him. Octagon control doesn't mean the one being the bully. It's not always the case. And what you'll notice when you watch the fight with the Rose fight in double speed is that she's the one that's ebbing and flowing out of range. And you'll see every now and then Esparza will bite and Rose will move away. And then she'll move back into range. Esparza will bite and she'll get hit with a jab. The other thing as well is the impact and the targeting of the strikes as well. So let's just have a quick look at this first. Let's see if you can see this. Okay, is that visible, Jamie? What do you reckon? Well, I'll talk you through it anyway. So first round, I need to change the color of this. First round is, 4 strikes to 4 strikes, no takedowns. Literally identical. So for me, then it falls back onto octagon control. For me, I thought that Rose was the one that was in the. She was the one that was doing the pushing and pulling in my eyes. She was the one that was controlling the direction of the fight, the pace of the fight, and when Esparza was able to move forward and what she was moving onto, whether she was moving into space or whether she was getting stung on the process. Next round, there's really not much in it, but Esparza failed a takedown. Some people will consider in a tight round that the attempt of getting a takedown is scoreable. I don't know. You also can't score anything for Rose for defending the takedown because defense is its own reward, so that kind of cancels itself out. So that was kind of a weird one. And then, Rose landed 3 of 14 and Carla landed 4 of 22. So then, what was that additional strike? Was it worth scoring the round for her? Was that 1 jab and 3 low kicks compared to 3 overhands? These are the things that we've got to break down. And then you also go to success rate. Rose was holding steady at 21% success rate compared to Esparza, whose success rate now is dropped off, which shows that Rose changing range and changing distance is starting to pay off. Okay. Rose starts to pick it up a little bit here. She now throws more strikes and lands a couple more strikes. She also stuffs 3 takedowns, giving Carla no control on the ground. Another decent round for Rose, in my opinion. Every single one of these rounds could have been... You could make an argument one way or the other. And to be honest, if I was sitting in a room full of judges, I would love to debate this fight because your perspective of what's going on, when it comes down to the minor details... It makes the difference between a 10-9 and 10-9 one way and a 10-9 the other. And, you score 2 rounds one way and you're already stacking the odds in one fighter's favor because then they only have to win one of the next 2 rounds, one of the next 3 rounds. For me, and let me just clear this because let's focus on the last 2 rounds. So, striking wise, it was pretty even in the last couple of rounds, but Esparza was scored for 2 takedowns here. I guess you could score one of those as a takedown, but Rose's escaping for me was enough to show that Carla didn't really have much of a control in that. There was a moment where it stalled on the floor before Rose then initiated the escape. So no control there, and then Rose comes out in the last round and puts it on her. And really good reacting to her corner team as well. Trevor Whitman said to her at the end of the 4th, he said, "You're better than her everywhere. Go and show it," or something along those lines. Go and prove it. And she did. She outpointed her. She landed more than double strikes in the last round, and she took her down. I personally would have been inclined to score that to Rose, but I could see I could see 3 rounds going to Carla. I could make that argument for you as well. Me personally, and what I'm looking for in a fight are more meaningful shots, more damaging shots. Neither of them really landed any, but I would say that Rose was more successful with the more balance changing, fight altering strikes, and Carla did nothing sufficient with her wrestling to really. I don't know. She didn't do anything with her wrestling enough for me to score any rounds for her. I mean, you know, like if you're gonna win a round with wrestling, you need to take the fight down and then do something on the floor. Like in a very, very tight round, you can score a takedown and control the person for 30 seconds, and you know maybe that will win you the round. But MMA judging is changing. You know, it's a lot more about damage now. Sometimes they'll score the person in bottom position for just working harder with elbows and strikes than the person in top position clinging. You know, you've really got to be you know, you've really got to have direction with your wrestling if you're going to do it in MMA. So I thought that was interesting, you know, because of how close it was. But also, you know, if you look at the percentages, you know, the only round where Esparza had more success with striking was in the 4th round, and she scored 2 takedowns. So yeah, I mean, I can go fourth round to Esparza, but the last one for Rose and the first 3 are very, very debatable. And then going on to, you know, just to kind of continue on with that point, I thought this was interesting because this is the breakdown of significant strikes. So Rose landed 81% of her strikes to the head compared to Carla, who landed 50% of strikes to the head. So then if we remember how close those rounds were, and, you know, sometimes we had both of them scoring 4 strikes a round, you've then got to go, okay, well, Rose is landing more headshots. For me, that's more significant. You can do damage with low kicks, of course, but head strikes are fight-ending strikes. You know, for me, low kicks, body shots, they can, of course, be finishers, but your intention to finish is aiming for the head. And Carla also landed 36% of her shots to the legs as well. So again, you know, unless it's like a Rakic against Anthony Smith, where it like knocks them off balance, or you can physically see like a limp, you know, DJ against Cejudo. Like for me, that that was a significant strike. It's very, very difficult to land a significant low kick. Far more likely, including the takedown defense and the strike on the break from Rose, there was far more value for me in the strikes of Rose. But I am interested to see what everybody thinks of that, because of course it was a very, very closely contested fight.